Welcome to the AI Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Jaden Schaefer. Every day, I cover cutting-edge AI news and talk with the leaders behind it, breaking down what it means for your life and business. Welcome to the podcast. Anthropic has just shipped Claude Tag. This is a Slack native virtual employee for enterprises. I'm excited about where this is going and who's behind this. OpenAI has just unveiled Jalapeno. This is the first custom inference chip built with Broadcom, and GPT-5 Pro has helped immunologists crack a 3-year T-cell mystery. Meta has just dropped the Ray-Ban branding for their smart glasses and have created a $299 smart glasses line. And Google is baking computer use into Gemini 3.5 Flash as a native tool. And what I'm super excited about is that Qualcomm is buying Modular for $3.9 billion in a big move to basically challenge NVIDIA. If you'd like to use AI to create tools or automate workflows and you're not technical like myself, I'm not technical, and you just want to describe what you want to build and have AI automatically link all of the models together and build it, I'd love for you to try out the Builder platform on AIBox. AIBox is my own startup. AIBox.ai/builder is where you can go to describe a tool or workflow you'd like to create and have AI put the whole thing together in minutes with no coding required. If there's different repetitive tasks that you do, whether that's coming up with email headers, responding to messages, putting together different podcasts, or making newsletters, all sorts of content that you can do, you can go check out aibox.ai/builder to learn more and try it out for yourself. I'd love to see what you build, and you can post it on our marketplace where other people can see it and try it. I'm super excited that Qualcomm is buying Modular for $3.9 billion. If you guys have been following the podcast for a while, you know I've had the CEO of Modular on in the past, Chris Latner. He was a phenomenal guest on the show. He posted and said, "I'm excited to share that Qualcomm is acquiring Modular. This will accelerate our path to unified accelerated compute with an open platform. This will also mark a new era in open software development for Qualcomm." So, I think this is a really good combination of two great companies. Modular was just founded 4.5 years ago, so this is not a very big company, and they only have about 150 employees. All of them are going to be moving over to Qualcomm with this. What's really exciting to me is that Modular actually raised $250 million just 9 months ago. They did it at a valuation of $1.6 billion. So it's really impressive that 9 months later, from $1.6 billion, they're getting acquired for $3.9 billion. This whole deal is going to close later this year. And I think it's really going to start moving this Qualcomm, which is, by the way, a California-based chip maker, is moving it closer to its goal of challenging NVIDIA, who is basically the strong market force. And something that NVIDIA does really, really well is not just the hardware, but a lot of the software that surrounds it. And Modular kind of plays into that, helping with a lot of the technology, working with CPUs, GPUs, NPUs. So grabbing some of this software layer to help with the hardware layer is a really smart move by Qualcomm. And a huge congratulations to everyone over at the Modular team. Huge congratulations to Chris Latner, friend of the pod. All right, let's talk about what's going on with OpenAI. They have just launched what they're calling Jalapeno. Sorry, my wife jokingly calls it jalapeno all the time, and so when I read it, I'm like tempted to say jalapeno. But Jalapeno, it is the very first custom inference chip built with Broadcom. So they're rolling this out, and they're targeting the massive cost of running ChatGPT and other models at scale. It's interesting, right? It's like it's so expensive for OpenAI to run their models that they're actually working on chips to decrease the cost. So, look, no one else is doing the chips good enough. We're gonna create the chips to lower the cost. They've done early tests which show much better performance per watt than any of the alternatives today, and I think this lets OpenAI kind of chip away at some of the inference costs that are directly hitting. It's basically making them less profitable. So it's like one of the easiest ways they can solve that problem. The chip is purpose-built for inference workloads like real-time coding. Pre-training is basically going to continue on NVIDIA hardware for now. These chips, if they actually wanted to scale this up, it takes a long time. It's a lot of work to do that. But this particular Broadcom partnership, they launched it in October, and it's very similar to Google's TPU strategy and also Amazon's custom Trainium and accelerators that they have. So OpenAI is copying what Google's doing. They're copying what Amazon's doing. And I know they've been working on this and talking about these kind of deals for a while. Right now, OpenAI is framing this one in particular as part of the full stack optimization, right? They're like, look, we're doing chip design, we're doing kernels, we're doing memory, we're doing networking, and scheduling. All are basically turning around the exact same goal of having these done faster, costing less money. So it's interesting. They're copying the playbook of others. Anthropic has launched Claude Tag. So this is something that is built straight into Slack, and it works kind of like a virtual employee, or this is kind of how they're pitching it. It is already approving about 65% of all code changes inside of Anthropic's own product team. So what's crazy to me is this is basically directly challenging or trying to compete with Salesforce's Slack bot, and Salesforce owns Slack. So they've built this like Slack tool or this integration into Slack, which is directly competing with the owner of Slack's like big Slack bot. Claude Tag basically lets you tag the bot. So you go at Claude inside of a channel, and then it can decompose and execute any tasks. It can intervene mid-workflow. What's cool is it's very auditable, so anyone that's on the team can see what it's doing. They can audit what, any of its actions that it's taken. And Anthropic right now, they are leading OpenAI in enterprise adoption. This is the first time. They have 34.4% of US companies right now. This is according to Ramp. They tracked about 50,000 different companies that use Ramp to pay. So it's one of these really good indicators because you have actual payment processor. So 34.4% of companies are paying Anthropic for their services versus 32.3% for OpenAI. So, it's basically the same thing, but Anthropic has officially passed OpenAI. 1% more are paying Anthropic than are paying OpenAI, and this is mostly because of Claude Code. So, in this particular tool in Claude Tag, any of the administrators can scope the tool's access, so you can choose what it's actually able to do. You can give it channel permissions, what channels it's allowed in, what channels it's not allowed in, and you can give it memory for every instance. You can also set token spend caps. This is kind of genius. Let's be honest, this is a problem that I think a lot of people would be concerned that it would just kind of go out of control. It'd trip on something and spend a ton of money. So being able to have budget caps is fantastic. The budget doesn't get overrun. And it also is good at preventing data leaks. They built a lot of really cool things in here. Okay, ChatGPT 5 Pro has just helped immunologists crack a 3-year T-cell mystery, so something that we haven't known the answer to. The immunologist was Daria Unensma, who solved this mystery cell behavior. And full disclosure, this is not an employee of OpenAI, it's someone that is using it. The reason why this one in particular I think is important is because T-cell research is kind of the foundation of a lot of checkpoint inhibitors. So you have CAR T therapies, you have most major pharma autoimmune pipelines, and I think making any model-assisted insight into some of this behavior is a really big win for drug programs. So this is something that's really exciting. I think OpenAI right now is moving GPT-5 Pro up market. They're collecting a lot of different scientists that are very famous. They're getting a lot of endorsements in domains where a single, correct hypothesis, solving one of these problems can unlock months of lab work. I think one anecdote doesn't prove that this model is going to be reliable across a lot of labs. So yes, they were able to solve this mystery, but it doesn't mean it's going to solve everything. But I think it does a lot for good PR for this model and for people even wanting to try it in a scientific setting. So Meta has just dropped the Ray-Ban branding for their newest glasses. And I think everyone knows Meta has been doing this collaboration with Ray-Bans for quite a long time. They also had an Oakley's collaboration that they were doing, but they've dropped that. And because of that, they've actually been able to make a cheaper smart glasses, which I think kind of goes to show how much they were probably paying for the licensing, for the Ray-Ban licensing. But their new glasses are only $299. They're smart glasses, and they're much cheaper than the Ray-Ban Meta Gen 2. It's about $80 cheaper. So maybe you can assume that might have been part of the licensing fee that they were paying before. This brings the form factor a lot closer to this kind of impulse buy price territory, in my opinion. So bringing it down to about $300 is cheaper than $400. And I think this shows that Meta is betting that dropping the, just basically making this cheaper is more important than making it like premium with this kind of co-branded thing. So they have 3 different styles that they're shipping. They have one called Fury, Adventurer, and Meta Glasses with Kylie Jenner. Meta Glasses by Kylie. So they do have it's like an influencer collab, not just a Ray-Ban collab. They have 7 different colors, the same internals as the Meta Ray-Ban optics styles, but the battery lasts longer. So basically, they're like, look, we have a product, it's working. A lot of people like it. You've probably seen on Instagram all the stories where it's like filmed with the Meta Ray-Ban. I've seen tons of clips on Instagram and YouTube where people are using these to film stuff, and you can kind of see the logo if it's like on Instagram and stuff. So the product is being used. They're rolling out the same thing, and basically it's got longer battery life. it's cheaper, and it's just not branded. And I think a lot of people are going to be going for these. Muse Spark AI is the first model from Meta Superintelligence Labs, and it now supports 14 new languages, including Mandarin, Hindi, Japanese, Arabic, and Korean. And all of that is going to be built right into these glasses. So when you're talking, it can do live translations for you into all of these different languages. They have adjustable nose pads. They have bendable temple tips, which is interesting. And they have an overextension hinge. They also support a whole bunch of different subscription ranges from -12 to +2.5 diopters without optician fittings below -6. Time will tell who will win in the Apple versus Google versus Meta wars for the smart glasses, and I think Meta is definitely winning right now, but we have other players that should be coming to market in the next couple of years. It'll be interesting to see who pulls ahead here. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. If you enjoyed this, it would help the show a ton if you could leave a rating and review wherever you get your podcast. Just, drop whatever you're interested in, whatever you're learning, some of the topics that you like, and I'll try to cover those more and more in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to check out aibox.ai/builder if you want to have AI create tools and workflows for you and save you a ton of time. All right, catch you guys all in the next episode.